Previously on Anything Goes.
Like, yeah, you're just making fun. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Jason Rose has two fans. Like, I was with him in Mississauga, and he has these two fans that are mentally challenged.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And they come to his show.
I know the two guys you're talking about. They come to
Yeah.
my shows all the time, too.
And they sing along, and Jason just, like, uses them and makes them, and it's great. And the audience at first is like, oh, but they have a great time. It's like...
Well, I think once like it's like I don't know if one guy has cerebral palsy, but he's in a wheelchair, he can barely move.
Yes, that's a guy.
And then Rouse will get the guy to do like shots,
Yeah.
Jaeger shots.
They got wasted.
And like this guy in the wheelchair is fucking wasted.
I have a couple friends with cerebral palsy that are comics in LA, and they are drunks.
Yeah.
Do you know the cerebral comic palsy?
Cerebral comic palsy? Was his name Palsy?
Yeah,
or?
it was Palsy
That's
Brown.
cerebral
His
comic?
name is Palsy Brown.
His name is Palsy?
His name's Palsy. He's really funny. But what about whatever happened? Because we were talking about her, Jerry Jules. Whatever happened to Jerry Jules from Facts of Life?
She was on Deadwood for a while.
Really?
Okay. She was playing a retard. Whatever.
Right.
I don't know which type of retard, a cerebral palsy retard or like a mental retard. I don't know. One of the retards. And then there's this comic, Brody Stevens, who's really into talking. He's really funny, but he's really into talking about people are at certain levels. They shouldn't make fun of other people.
Yeah.
And he's always about positivity. So he's on stage once late night at the Comedy Store, and we're all making fun of him and stuff. And it's in front of like 12 comics and nobody else there. And then one comic lady, Stephanie Escajeda, she wanted to go on next, even though the show was over. It was like, you just keep going as long as you want. So he was like, oh, is there other audience? I didn't realize there was audience here. Because she was like, Brody, get off. There's other people want to go on. He was like, all right, let me do some crowd work. And he was like, what's your name? And this girl's like, Jerry. He goes, oh, like Jerry Jewell. Like he does that impression.
Right.
And Brody never does anything like that.
Yeah.
And then it really was her. And she was like, yes, like Jerry Jewell. And he was like, what? And I was in the back, like, Brody, that's Jerry Jewell.
That's amazing.
Because we had seen her come in. It was so weird. We're like, oh, you're Jerry Jewell. Nice to meet you. And he's never negative. He never does impressions.
Oh, my gosh, that's amazing.
And it's the only time. He put his face in his hands and goes, I got to go. I got to leave. And he just hid in the main room.
That's what I wanted
until everyone's gone.
That's what I wanted to talk about with you, too, is because...
And now, let's get to a new exciting show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for some laughs? Are you?
Don't touch that dial. It was molested and it brings back horrible memories. This is Anything Goes with Darren Frost,
How the fuck am I funny?
Dave Martin,
What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
and Kathleen McGee.
And I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you!
Can you dig it?
So welcome back. It's been a crazy couple weeks.
I know.
Well, now, why do you hate Zoom so much?
It's just like every time I start it, I'm sideways and it's all over the place. And I fucking hate this pandemic. So
Oh,
anything
okay. All right.
to do with this pandemic, I hate. I hate Zoom shows. I hate having to do podcasts on Zoom. Like, it's just not my favorite.
Right.
Well, I guess would any of us be using Zoom right now if it wasn't for the pandemic?
I don't.
Like-
Well, we would because we're doing this, but I don't even.
Yeah.
But it's just. I don't know. I don't know why.
The problem is, I think, if the pandemic wasn't going on, we still would be doing this, but this wouldn't be our whole life or showbiz. We'd be out doing shows, and then every once in a while get together once a week and shoot the shit fine. But when there's only this avenue, Zoom, to get your thing out, it becomes all-encompassing and even shittier.
Yeah, it just reminds you every time you use it how shitty it is, and like that stand-up is dead.
Right.
Right. Well, you know what? I always said that, you know what, if there was ever sort of like some like biblical end of the world, the end of days was coming, and they had to load a brand new ark of people, and they would just like Moses or whoever the fuck, Noah, right? It was Noah's ark.
Yeah.
Moses' ark.
Well, you know, he had like a second one up behind.
Just a bunch of tablets. A set of two tablets.
Yeah, it was just that was just for the tablets, and then and Prime was Amazon was delivering everything else. But and then so Noah would stand up at the top and be like, okay, who are the mechanics? Who are the carpenters? Actually, let's make this easier. Who are the DJs and comedians? Okay, you just go over there. Everyone else, come on board.
Yeah.
From now on, we're just going to find out who the funny guy at the office was. And if he can do something else, we'll just stick with him. And I don't know. It's just if when the clubs eventually come back, and I know that they will, if I have to hear someone go, you know what? People just need to laugh.
Right. I know.
I'm just going to run into the middle of the road and just hug the first fucking car that comes to close to me.
On the East Coast, I don't know if you guys know, but 2 comedy clubs actually have opened. One has opened or is about to open in near Halifax, and then Yuck Yucks is opening another Halifax location.
Outside of the hotel?
Yeah, the one in the hotel closed.
It's gone.
Oh.
Yeah, so a new one has opened up, and they just announced it yesterday or today, I think, that it will be opening. And I mean, it's not going to change anything right now. We're not allowed to even get to go there, but there are other clubs opening. We'll see what happens.
Well, when it comes to Yuck Yucks, I always say I'll believe it when I'm about to be introduced to the stage. It's like that's when I know that okay, this is a club and there are shows going on.
Mm-hmm.
But even when they're open, it sucks. As much as like I know it's. But like even like because everyone's spaced apart, it doesn't feel the same. It feels so weird, and everybody just stands around going, "Well, this is a good crowd for what's happening." This is everyone keeps saying, and it's know it's so depressing. Like it's still happening, but it's barely happening. It's like stand up is on life support, and it's really really depressing.
So when I did that weekend in Ottawa, there was like crowds of 50 people. And, someone would come up to you and go, oh, man, that was great. That's the best show I ever saw. And I'm like, you got to get the fuck out more. Yeah. That was like a 5.5 out of 10. Honestly, I didn't have a great weekend. And, I get it. Everyday people, they don't put it on the same kind of perspective or pedestal as I would. But I'm like, I'm not good right now. I'm doing okay. I think you're getting value for your money, but I don't think it's great. And they're like, oh, this is great. I'm like, this ain't great. This is like I said, 5.5 out of 10.
They're just living on this like they have not gone out in a long time, or they're that's what anything live is going to be amazing. But it's a very weird feeling to know that your career is like at a standstill and never.
The saddest thing about this pandemic is, and let's all be honest, when things return to normal, Dustin Diamond will never go on a stand-up stage again, and that.
Hey, that's not true. He'll be doing stand-up in heaven or hell, whichever one he went to.
That's the cost of the pandemic. That's all I'm saying.
You don't think they're going to have a Dustin Diamond hologram that's going to be doing stand-up and some?
I hope so. I fucking hope so.
They're going to do one of those sort of like Coachella, like fucking Tupac holograms, but it's going to be Dustin Diamond.
Yeah.
What was funny about the Dustin Diamond thing is like, I didn't know that he was 44.
I did.
I thought he was. I didn't know what the fuck he was. But he also, I guess he had he'd been just so terrorized by social media. Literally, you couldn't mention his name on it without him being just shit on completely. And apparently he had like a growth on the side of his neck that everyone was telling him to go and get it looked at. Mm-hmm. But he did not want. He didn't want to go to a hospital because apparently it was like someone was going to see him. So he was just going to get out there and he was going to get made fun of more. And I think literally a 44-year-old guy was just afraid of internet bullying, and that stopped him from going to get this thing taken a look at.
Right.
But another thing was that it's like, he really sort of alienated himself away from all of his Saved by the Bell stars.
When first of all, you write that book, it says some really shitty things about those cast members. Then they all say, fuck this, that never happened, and they kind of ostracize him. Then he comes out and says he didn't actually say that the ghostwriter said. I mean, just fucking own something for once in your life. Like me, I don't like Screech. I had my interactions with him. I don't wish cancer on him. Maybe herpes a couple times, which I'm sure he got. But I don't want him to die. I didn't want him to die. It was a horrible death, supposedly, with the cancer that he went through, and it wasn't good. It was obviously very quick, but he was not a good person. And he wasn't a good person, not just through me, but through multiple people I've talked to or heard about the way he treated other comics and the business. And that shittiness, I'm sorry. This idea that RIP is screeching that, I get it from the fans, but some people, it's like, you talk shit about that guy for a long time, and now it's RIP. I got a problem with that.
Well, you know, I think a lot of those, a lot of the posts put out by his co-stars were
they were PR things.
No, but they were also very well worded.
Yeah.
To not necessarily shit on him, but also not necessarily to like build him up to be a great guy.
Right.
I mean, you could be the biggest piece of shit in the world, and you could still say, you know, hey, there's only one Darren Frost, and that can be very, very vague.
Sure.
Like you could be, you know, you could be like, oh, there's only one OJ that's like right up there. So it's like.
I always like to use the comparison of Anna Nicole Smith, but, you know, 3 weeks before she died, major punching bag. There was some kind of story, and all the comics were making their jokes, and then she died, and for a week, even comics were like, oh, it's so sad, R.I.P. I'm like, what the fuck?
What comics?
Come on.
But that's what happens when anybody dies. That's what happens when anybody dies. If Donald Trump died, people would be like, you can't, you know, no one's going to be like, oh, I loved Trump, but like, you know, people would be saying things about him, you know, it's just. Yeah. And speaking of OJ, this morning I couldn't sleep, so I woke up really early, and The Naked Gun is on Netflix.
Yes.
Have you watched it recently? Like, it is so funny.
Yes.
Like, knowing who he is and what he did now, and like in the movie, they're like, oh, he's such a great person. He would never hurt a fly, and I'm like, this is so fucking crazy. It's so funny.
Well, you've ever seen, and I think it's on YouTube somewhere. Like, I think between him getting acquitted and then the second, the kidnapping crime that he did,
right,
in Vegas with his memorabilia. Have you guys seen the OJ, like the 6-part documentary on?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yes.
It's so funny. Like, with 2 words, his charge went from just breaking and entering and theft to kidnapping. Like, because you know how he bursts into the hotel room and all of his stuff is there, and the moment he says, hey, shut that door, it turns into kidnapping. Because anyways, it's like, but it's I do remember that movie though.
And The Naked Gun, go ahead.
I started watching, there's also 2 documentaries on Netflix about the LA riots. And it is really interesting to watch that and to realize they just didn't want that to happen again. They didn't want, the city was already under so much pressure. And there was just so many people that were like, well, he didn't do it. Or even if he did, you know, it was just, if you, because I never knew how bad the riots really were. I was young when they happened, and I had no idea that like half the city burnt down and like 60 people died. Like, I had no idea. And I think they were just like, we can't let that happen again. So if there's a doubt in our mind, we're not convicting him. And you kind of understand the whole situation a lot better once you know more about the riots.
Oh, for sure. But if you get a chance, there's like I said, between the him getting busted in Vegas and then the acquittal, someone hired him to do a hidden camera show. Did you know about this?
Yeah.
Juiced. That's pretty amazing to watch that and know, wow, this guy.
I wonder if is that on YouTube, the show Juice? I wonder where is that footage?
It's on YouTube. You can watch it.
Okay,
I think you can watch the whole hour of it too. It's like, I don't know how, but of course, you know, hey, you need money, and someone's going to pay a huge bunch of dough for that. And it's not like anyone else was.
People have to work, Dave. People have to work.
People do.
But The Naked Gun still holds up, because I tried to watch it with my 2 sons a week and a half ago, and we got 10 minutes in. I laughed like 4 or 5 times, and they didn't even chuckle.
So good.
I was laughing the whole way through. And you know what? I just watched The Hangover 1, 2, and I was surprised how funny the second one was.
Oh yeah.
It was actually a pretty good sequel.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good sequel. Police Academy's on there too. I think it's only one of them, the first one. And I also watched that. And I'm like, it is funny to watch movies from like the 80s, and there's some really racist dialogue. There's lots of rape jokes. There's lots of, like, it's insane. Like, I think that somebody that's like a social justice warrior, if they watch Police Academy, their head would explode. Like, there's one line that I literally, my mouth was like, what? I'm not gonna repeat it, but it's like, it was really bad.
Why can't you repeat it? Just repeat it.
Well, we talked about this a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if you were here or not, but the Revenge of the Nerds, that movie.
Yeah,
there's a scene in that where, you know, the girl thinks she's having sex with one person, but she's so drunk it's someone else. Like, shit like that it's like, there's a reason why there hasn't been a reboot of Revenge of the Nerds in the last few years.
Actually, Judd Apatow was thinking about trying to relaunch it.
Yes, I know. Yeah. But he was talking about the problems with some of that type of thing. And you just can't get away with it. You can't.
I don't even think the girl was drunk in that scene. I think it's just because that the nerd had the same gorilla costume on or something like that.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. She's not even drunk. But they did something in that which wasn't even technically it was really shitty, but it wasn't even, now it's like a crime that you could go to jail for, is they did that revenge porn, basically where they set up the video cameras in the girls' sorority. And then when they had the pie eating contest, they put the nude pictures on the bottom of the pie and to embarrass the girls. But I mean, you could go to jail for that now. That's like, that's like a federal offense. But yeah, I don't. Some of those, I think silly movies will always sort of hold up, like a genuine silliness and goof, and then there's some comedies that you sort of watch now and go, ooh, wow, this does not work. This does not hold up. I think stand-up.
There's bits and pieces that like don't hold up. But yeah, I could not believe like how racist that Police Academy movie was. Like, the words they were saying, like, I was just in shock. Like,
and then there was a knockoff of Police Academy that Linda Blair was in. What was that one called?
Yes.
Night Patrol.
Night Patrol.
Yeah.
That was like that was the dirtier version of Police Academy.
Well, remember all those ski school movies?
That's like,
so I watched a whole bunch of South Park this week, and that one episode, when they go skiing, you know, if you French fry when you pizza, you're gonna have a bad time. You know that. But it's like all sort of a takeoff of like one of those ski school movies, and it's so funny and so well done, because I loved those movies when I was a kid, and I don't even know why. I don't even know why.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I still love Better Off Dead. I still think that movie holds up.
That's a John Hughes movie, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
His movie's pretty well.
But that's a ski movie. That's a predominant half of it's a ski movie.
I also, Ski School is the one there was that one actor that is like a dead ringer for Johnny Guardhouse, who is he's also in I think he's also in not Summer Rental but Summer School.
Yeah.
You know the two
I just watched Summer School.
You know the two kids that are like the horror movie fans. One of them is a dead ringer for Johnny Guardhouse, who is also in Ski School. But
but that's what happened. A movie would hit, and then there'd be all kinds of, like, you know, Meatballs. And then there was like Meatballs 2. Then there was Screwballs, which is the Canadian knockoff of the Canadian movie. It's, you know, Wayne Fleming's in Screwballs.
And so is Peter Callahan, who's also in Cooper's Christmas.
Yes.
But yeah, those movies always fall into that category of like, someone needs to raise money for something. They usually have to save the ski school or the community center or the old folks home or the orphanage. And then so all the crazy hijinks that go into having to make money, that's the movie. So that's a classic form.
I mean, isn't that the plot to Blues Brothers? They're trying to raise money for the orphanage.
Yes, it is.
So,
I watched that last night. What's with me watching all these old movies?
Well, because everyone's got time.
Yeah, I have too much time.
Like, people are just burning through shows. I mean, I just started Superstore. I didn't really know it.
It's so good.
And I'm like, why had I not? Even no one I know has ever posted anything about Superstore, which I'm surprised. Like, not even one person going, hey, you should check this out. I just kind of fell into it because it just came on Netflix a few weeks ago. And I'm like, you know, Mark McKinney and Lauren Ash are extremely, extremely funny on that show.
And you know who else is really, really good on that show? Johnny Pemberton. He plays the young girl's boyfriend.
Oh, Bo.
Bo is like my like I just started watching that too, and I'm like on season. I've been binging it. It is such a good show. It's so well done. Their little cutaways that they do.
Oh yeah.
Like people shopping at the store. It's just such a great show. It's and I had never really heard a lot of it from it either. But yeah, it's a great show.
So its last season is about to come on now on NBC, and then it's done. Now there's talk about Bo and the girlfriend having a spin-off show. That's kind of what they're talking about. Now I also looked up, when I looked up Bo, it said that I think he was a stand-up. I think he started in stand-up.
He would. I didn't know him, but he was around when I was in LA. I did a couple of shows at the Laugh Factory that he was on, and he's a really funny stand-up too. Like his Twitter is really great. Like Johnny Pemberton's a really talented person. I hope that he gets his own show. He deserves it. Like he's really, really funny. And that character, I don't really like the girl that much. She kind of gets, I don't know what season you're on, but I'm on 4 and she's like really getting on my nerves. But his character is just so perfect. And he just like little subtle jokes that he gets out. So great.
I don't know why I always dismiss network comedies though.
Yeah.
I mean, I just immediately, as soon as I find out it's on a network, I mean, is there a laugh track on Superstore?
No
laugh track. Okay, well, I mean that's a good sign.
Yeah.
But
there's not laugh tracks anymore. I can't think of one. Like Parks and Rec is network. The Office is network. Like it's a lot of that kind of style. That's what network is now.
Yeah, I mean, Superstore really is kind of The Office in a Walmart. I mean, the style of comedy and the callbacks and all the layers and the characters. It's very Office-esque, and I get that. And I think that's also why I might not have heard of it, because people would be like, "Oh, it's just like The Office. Watch The Office." But I think I never watched The American Office. I watched the British Office. Never watched it, but my son loves The American Office, watched all of it, and is now loving Superstore. So it's obviously different enough that it's not that repetitive.
It is different, but it is like it is exactly the same. Like there's characters, like I would say Dwight and Dina are the same character kind of thing, because they're both like, but Lauren Ash is so good on that show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like it's just, yeah, I'm glad you're watching it too. Like I'm not the only person I'm obsessed with that show right now.
I'll give it a shot. I don't know why I haven't. I just, like I said, I guess I just immediately just brush off network sitcoms because
they all mostly are like a formula or kind of cheesy, and you kind of figure it out very quickly because of our age, and we've seen enough of it to not want to sit through crap. So I think at least I do. I have this kind of built in, like, oh, it's gonna be shitty. It's gonna be like I've already seen this before.
Right.
It's a show that the first episode's great. You'll get into it the first episode.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely give it a shot. I mean, I haven't really watched much of the American Office at all. I don't even know if I've seen a whole episode. I've seen the British Office. I'm not saying that to be a snub, but I'm just saying
that is kind of snob. That is kind of like being like, oh, I heard of that band first.
Yeah. Oh, no. I know. That's why I kind of cringe saying it. It's also sometimes when a show gets to be like 8 seasons and you haven't even started episode 1, season 1, somehow that just looks like it's like you're asking me to read an encyclopedia. There's just so much. I'm not going to bother. Right. It's like
it is good in its own way, but the American Office and British, you can't really compare. You can't compare them because they are different, and like just because the boss is different, but it's still a good show. But I'm not an obsessed with The Office person.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that the American Office picks up after season 1, in like season 2, mostly because they can't just do carbon copies of what they did at the British Office. So
I actually auditioned for the American Office.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, a long time ago, I sent the tape in, and it was the Dwight character.
Really? Oh my.
Anything goes with these cats. Am I fucking this up? Hi, you're listening to... Oh, crap, I forgot myself. Hi, this is Christina Walkinshaw, and you're listening to Anything Goes with Darren Frost and Kathleen and Dave on XM Laugh Attack. Yeah, call me.
God, that's awesome.
What's going on with you and ridiculousness? Can I ask you that?
So I signed the paperwork. I'm assuming I'm going to be in an episode.
That's
Oh, so-
hilarious.
And did they have to buy the clip off of you?
Yes, yes.
So can we ask how much the clip cost?
I haven't got the check yet, but I think it's $300.
Oh,
Exciting.
I guess. I mean, why not?
I got $100 American for a video of Eugene in a Guitar Man costume.
I mean, I know what's gonna happen. They're gonna make fun of me, fatty, whatever, and they're gonna show me get hit. They're gonna stop it, rewind it, show me get hit again. Like I know what's coming, but someone said to me, "It's on YouTube for free." You said it. Denny Medlow said it. You might as well make $300. What do you care?
Well, I mean, are they going to mention who you are?
No, I doubt it.
Oh shit! You know what? You know what you should have done? You should have watermarked your website into the clip.
Yeah, I could have done that. But they can get around that because they're buying it. They can get rid of a watermark because they actually own that clip now.
Okay.
For that show and other properties that they have.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Wow. I don't know. I was just trying to help you out, man.
Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, it'll be on. I don't know when. It was funny when I wasn't sure I was going to do it. They were hounding me, and once I said yes and signed it, I haven't heard anything from them again. Like, you're in an episode, you're not in an episode. I haven't got a check yet, so we'll see.
Okay, because they do marathons of that show, which it's the same format as Tosh.0, but yes. I mean Tosh.0 is a pretty funny show. But I don't really understand the appeal of the ridiculousness show. I don't even know who the host is.
It's just
he's a skateboarder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just football in the groin. That's all it is, over and over again.
Yeah. Now, Kathleen, have you seen this movie called this documentary called Fake Famous? Have you heard about it? Okay. Well, I mean, it's on Crave. It's an HBO documentary, but it's all about influencers. And this guy who used to be the social media spokesperson or expert whenever whenever CNN would need an opinion on social media, they would just automatically go to this guy.
Yeah.
So this guy decided he would just put an ad in the paper, him and a team, and all the ad said was, do you want to be famous? So they had like a 1 day of auditions. They went through like maybe 1,000 people in a day or something like that. Huge number. And they eventually whittled it down to 3. And then they basically just start injecting their Instagram, Twitter, and they're buying bots and buying likes for them. And it goes to show how, I guess just how really fake and phony the whole process is. And it's
it's very fake.
But I mean, like there was I forget who was this guy who directed. He had like a really good breakdown of it. He said, boil it down. It's like influencers project a false universe where they are famous for the purpose of getting products and, more importantly, sponsorship from any random company that's willing to pay them for hawking hair products to their followers. And the majority of the followers are paid for bots or fake accounts and don't have any real people behind them. So basically, it's fake people living fake lives, getting paid to promote shitty products to a fake audience. And
now, who said that, Dave? Because you just were reading that. Who said that?
Oh, that's it's this guy Derek McFarlane. Oh shit, I should yes. It is I should, if I'm reading it off.
Yeah.
It's Derek McFarlane. He's like one of the door guys at Absolute Kingston.
Okay.
But he sums it up really well, and
right.
It's like the girl in it. She just starts getting flooded with free stuff. And then there's the one guy in it, and he shuts down his account because all these people are piling on him and accusing him of buying followers. And these are all Russian bots. And one of the guys doesn't want followers to be bot form anymore. And it's just an interesting thing of just the emptiness of fame. And none of them seem to have like a real end game. Like, I'm doing this for this. And there's a funny scene in it where they're reenacting these scenes where they're a day at the spa, but they're really in this guy's backyard, and they're just posting these photos of like it shows her lying on her back and her head sort of floating above this like dirty kiddie pool that has all these floating flower petals in it and stuff. And it just goes to show the emptiness of this, of a fame pursuit. Because
social media, like, it was, for a while it was for sharing stuff, but now it's just become the new way to advertise. Like, I get sucked into Instagram ads. I bought stupid things off of Instagram before because I just see it, I click on it, and then all of a sudden, oh, I just bought that. Oh my God. It's and the same with just like influencers hawking stuff. Like, if this is perfect, like this person that people want to be so bad. Well, she uses this for her hair and I love her hair, so I need to get that for my hair. Like, it's genius in a marketing sense, but it is empty and sad and gross.
And it's sort of
my whole thing is it's the bot part of it. That's where I have no problem with any of it except the bot problem, because what you're really doing there is it's built on a foundation that is 100% fake. Now, I knew about bots. I've known about it for a long time. And I never really knew anyone that had bot followers until I found out one person had bot followers. Not going to say that person, and it was thousands of followers. Like, overnight, their presence just jumped up. And that's when I talked to someone, I believe it was maybe when he might have been even you, Dave. And it was like, oh, those are bot followers. And I didn't even know that was possible. I mean, I knew it was possible. I didn't know it was that easy, that if this person could do it, then anybody could do it.
Well,
and that's my...
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Finish.
No, that's my problem. It's like, if you have 3 million followers and they're all real people, and Coke wants to pay you $100,000 to wear a Coke t-shirt, I get it.
Yeah.
But if you got 3 million followers and 2 million of them are Russian bots, and that person is seen as more of an entity in show business than someone that's actually got real followers, that's where I have a problem with it.
And Instagram took away number counts, like a number count. So you can see how many followers they have, but you can't see, you used to be able to see how many likes somebody got on a photo, which I think like is their way of being like, no. Well, like, at first people were kind of mad about that. Influencers were kind of mad about that, but then they started to understand, oh, now I can buy people and nobody can really tell that, like, I have 3 million followers, but I only get 10,000 likes when I should be getting 1 million likes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, it's just another way to hide stuff so that people can continue to fake that they're these influencers and that they're these big names. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it showed them faking a camping trip in like Northern California in this guy's backyard who lives in Southern California, but they fake a camping trip. And it's all in hopes to get a paid camping trip, which will in turn, they will take photos of again and post those. And it showed the guy working out at a gym, and that all goes. And then out of nowhere, someone calls him and wants to shoot a video with him at their gym and gives him a free membership. And it's an interesting way to do it. But they've also gotten better with bots, because I remember when one person that I know that bought some followers, at that time, all the followers were just like those Twitter egg shapes. And now they've got real bots with real people in them. Because Kathleen, you know Matthew Stone. Right. So I'm friends with Matthew Stone on Facebook, and you are too. I got a friend request from Matthew Stone, and it was his profile picture, the same one that he's using now. It was like the essential Matthew Stone information, but you couldn't see any if he had any friends. You couldn't see if he had any photos. There was only 1 or 2 posts, and they were pictures pulled from his thing. And then I messaged Matthew Stone and I said, "Hey, aren't we friends again? Aren't we still friends?" And then
this happens to everybody. It's happened to me a couple times. Yeah.
But it was just funny. As soon as I mentioned to the bot, "Hey, have you talked to Kathleen lately?" Like 2 minutes later, it was like a blank thing. It was like a Facebook user. That's all it said. But like, I've never had it be that quick to be like someone you're talking to, and then boom, they're gone. But yeah, it's a really interesting documentary to watch. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but it is sort of one of these things that are just like, I mean, it makes you relieved that you have a talent in a way of doing stand-up to fall back on, because a lot of these people, they show some clips from the audition, And it's like everyone, well, I can sing, I can act, I do some modeling.
Well, Kathleen, with you, you being in Edmonton, and Ricky's Club brings in a lot of big American comics.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are great comics, but I'm sure there's been times where he's brought in someone that has had a huge Twitter following and may not be the star of like a show on NBC like he normally does. And have you ever worked with any of these kind of more bigger Twitter following comics?
I've never worked with like a social media star comic, but like I have heard like they will book people based on numbers and followers, like, and they're not the only comedy club that does this.
Oh no, I know that. Yeah.
But it's like I've worked with people, those people don't bring in any more people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the crap,
Like I get that you want big numbers, but this person doesn't mean they have 10,000 followers in Edmonton. Like I wish.
Yeah, or 10,000 people in the first place that are actually going to go to that show.
Right.
It's kind of like we were talking about Screech. It was sort of like when a club owner books Screech once, a big crowd will come out, and then when he books Screech again, if that crowd comes out again, they're seeing the same show and it's a bad one, and the novelty of Screech wears off. You're just like, So.
Well, we're going to see more of it especially because of TikTok. TikTok wasn't really around as much before the pandemic. But now there are TikTok celebrities. Like there are people on there that make videos. And that's another app that it's just like, they're just using people to get free content. Because if you read how to get more followers, you should post at least 5 videos a day. Wow. Like that's insane. Like I get that people had that much time because of the pandemic.
Right.
But like, and it's boring.
Right.
And it's so much work for no pay. Like you might get a sponsorship from somebody. Like I know some guy that got a beer sponsorship and he gets a case of beer a week, but like he puts in so much work into his TikToks. Like, is that really worth it? Like you could be writing a book or something. Like, I don't know. They're not nobody. And I guess there is a creator fund on TikTok where you do get money eventually if you have a large enough following. But it's still like, it's so much work for, I don't think, very much money at all.
There's I know someone that they don't have cable, but they have an antenna and they can pick up a couple of American channels. And there's one American channel and it's like called like TDS or something like that. And
I have that on my TV.
Oh yeah? It's the one where the majority, like I'd say 80% of their programming is literally clips from the internet of like fails. It's all, and then they'll show like Chips and fucking Magnum PI and a couple of other sort of 70s action shows. And Hunter and things like that. But I mean, it's just, but yeah, it's basically like 8 hours a day of these like 10-second YouTube clips and shit like that. So it's sort of like, I mean, yeah, it's like someone bought your clip and they're for $300. And they could play it forever on this channel if they wanted to. So
well, there's a literal show on this TV thing. I have a smart TV and it just comes with it, and it's 2 kids, probably like the early 20s. It's called In the Comments Section, and they literally just talk about comments on celebrities' social media, and it's like it's mind numbing, but it's also like it's like watching a train wreck. You can't stop. Like
right.
But then you also realize that these are like 20-year-olds, and this is what they're into. They're super into social media, and social media, there are stars in their eyes, and they literally just talk about the comment section and what these people post and all this other and the feuds. And I honestly think like there's so many like weird YouTube star feuds. Like it's like real life soap operas now. That's the way it's like what we used to watch Young and the Restless. Now everybody watches that Trish Paytas fight with that Jeffree Star, right? It's just like that's all people. Well,
yeah, it's you could call it soap opera or wrestling. It's like wrestling, right? Like, good guys, bad guys, fights, arguments, backstories, all that shit.
Yeah.
I like Trisha Paytas.
I know you do.
Yeah.
But I think it's people don't want to, like, how the writers had their writers strike. This is when this all started happening. They don't want to pay people to create content anymore. No. They don't want it. They just want it for free. So, and this is what's happening. is everybody's making this stuff for free, and payment is numbers, and that's it. You don't get paid in money, you get paid in followers, which might eventually translate into some free stuff, but you're not getting paid money to do this, and unless you're like really, really high top numbers. But
right.
you know, it's weird. Even like having 100,000 followers on TikTok isn't like that many.
Well, when do you start getting impressed at numbers, knowing how much they can be faked? I mean, that's the thing. It's sort of like, it's sort of, you see a number and you realize, well, there's so many, it's like the guy didn't even have to literally go on the dark web or anything like that to start buying people to like these things. I mean, it's just,
that's why I like Twitter, because Twitter shows followers and Twitter shows interactions. Like you can see if someone has 100,000 followers and then like one retweet per tweet, you know?
Right. Yeah.
That just means that nobody's paying attention to them.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose there is that documentary called Funny Tweets. You haven't seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that. That's got Dan Duvall.
Right.
He's from Victoria. He started doing stand-up and then he got Twitter famous, and he like went down to LA and everything. And he's a really, really funny guy. His Twitter was very funny. And a lot of people, like a lot of TV show writers, got their jobs from Twitter.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like that got famous on Twitter. Like there's
that's what happened with Levi McDougall. That's how he got his job in LA. He was doing some tweets, and I can't remember the famous comic who he
Dimitri.
worked for. Dimitri. Yeah.
Dimitri Martin must have met him somewhere else, though. He couldn't have did he meet him through Twitter, or? I
think they met through Twitter. I remember like he did a bunch of jokes, and I don't think he got his job just because of that, but I think it got him in the door to them at least seeing him on their radar of like, those are some funny tweets, checked out a couple clips. I mean, that's how it works.
There's a guy from Edmonton, and his handle is the Lean Over, and he just had funny tweets, and he was doing lots of tweets every day, and then like he went to the Simpsons to meet with like writers down there, and like it's sort of like the new resume, I think, the Twitter, but that doesn't happen.
Well, instead of spec scripts, you're just doing Twitters, like tweets. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just.
I mean, I'm not going to do it, but I get it. It makes sense. If you need jokes like The Simpsons, those episodes are jokes. That's where you're going to find jokes.
Yeah.
I just want to get my farm. I just want to get my goat farm.
Oh yeah, no, I just want to buy my RV, and then I'm just going to go completely off the grid. It's just, I mean, at a certain point, I mean, it's sort of like if that's what I really want to do now. I couldn't give a fuck about most things now, but it's like, but yeah, if you asked me like 10 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm going to buy a comedy club and I'll run them right. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And now I'm like, fuck all this shit. I just want to.
I don't want to do comics anymore.
Nothing at all. I'll show up on Facebook once a week or once a month, and
I've actually really like stopped going on social media a lot in this past month after after the attack on the Capitol. I was just on it too much, and I was really depressed. I think I'm still pretty depressed because of this whole pandemic and everything. And it feels like it feels like my career is gone, like it's non-existent anymore. But yeah, like it's social media. When I'm on it, it even makes me sadder.
Well, I mean, because it's either complaining or bragging, really.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, because there is not. I just too many people that sort of like. It's sort of like if you ask someone a question, then they just respond with another question. It's like there's no real debating about issues. It's just like these little monologues that people can just walk away from. So it's sort of like, oh no, this is a great conversation that we're having. It's like, it's not a conversation if I can just turn my computer off and walk away. It's like, there isn't that, I mean, there's two sides of that cyberbullying too. It's like, is it really bullying if you don't see, like from the bully's perspective, well, how do they get off on knowing they're hurting someone if they don't get to see it, right? Mm-hmm. And also it's sort of like what was that? I mean, there was like that, I don't know, there was that one porn star or it doesn't matter if she's a porn star, but I guess she just got attacked on Twitter and then she committed suicide.
Oh yeah,
she literally couldn't stay away from her phone.
Yeah.
And her whole family and people around her were just like, put your phone down, just get away from it. But it's like, I mean, people's whole existence sometimes just revolves around this thing that you have on your hand. But
because they're living a fake great life on that phone, but not in real life.
Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, when the life that you live online is so much better than the one that you actually have, eventually that's going to cave in on you. You're going to be like, what the fuck?
And the worst part is, like, for teenagers, because I'm kind of going through it with my sons and stuff, is that when I was a teenager, once I left school and I was at home, I didn't have to deal with a lot of shit. I at least had 4 or 5 hours of no dealing with anyone. I just played my Commodore 64 or I worked my job, and that was it. Now, teenagers always have a phone with them, can constantly be talked to, constantly check up on everyone, constantly feel like the feelings that you were talking about, Kathleen, of like your life is shit. It's not going to get any better. And that's and of course they're all talking about the mental health of kids. And that's why they're wanting school to go back and stuff like that. But it's a real damage, social media and phones to kids.
The fact that I feel like I can't get away. Like, I missed a podcast with you guys because I just stopped looking at my Facebook messages because they just kept piling up, and I'm like, I don't want to answer anything, so I'd stop looking at them. But it is this overwhelming feeling that, like, you can't get away. Like, someone can contact you or find you at all times, and it kind of is like a very terrible feeling. Like, I don't like it anymore. It used to be great being online and having my phone, but now it's just become too much. Like, it's just, I'm sure a lot of it has to do, like, with the pandemic, and literally nothing else is happening in the world but social media for a lot of people.
Yes.
But it's just become, and I do feel really, really bad for kids because I can't imagine having to, like, you're literally shown how popular you are by how many Instagram followers you are. It's crazy. Like, there's kids that probably, you only have 20 Instagram followers, you're a loser. Like, that's just, like, I can't even imagine what it's like to be a kid right now, and I wouldn't want to be a kid right now. Like, I have lots of friends that have kids that are turning into teenagers, and it's scary. Like, it's awful to watch, and it's too much. It's, like, psychologically scary.
But it's also, it's like, I know someone whose kids are going off to university, but it's literally they're just going to a dorm and they're doing everything online. And you're just sort of thinking, it's like,
they won't even be going to a dorm, Dave. No.
Well, anyways, my friend's kid is not at home, but he's like somewhere else, but they don't even go to the university.
Right. Yeah.
Like, wherever he is, it's like, they don't, and it's just like, that's like you got a small window as a kid to enjoy college, university, and your first time being like an independent kid. And now it's just, we were talking about watching movies from the 80s, but if you watch, like, university, like, comedies from the 80s, 90s, or just even pre-pandemic, and now you're like, a kid would watch those and be like, well, how come? You just feel like you're missing out on so much as a kid.
So my son is starting in September, college or university. He's applied, he's gotten in everywhere. And I went to university, and all 4 years I lived on campus because I loved it. I was away from my parents. It was a very social thing for me. I hated high school, and I loved university because it was different. And I think it's very important that my son, for the first year, lives on campus. I've been talking to him about this for years, that it's like, even if it's that close, like only a half an hour away, I still want you to get that first year of living on. I've been building it up and building it up. Well, guess what? September comes, he's probably not going to be allowed to live on campus or even have that option. So this thing that I've been talking to him and saying, hey, buddy, it's going to be great, it's just gone. And also, I don't know if you know this or not, Dave, but and I'm sure you don't, Kathleen. In Ontario, a university, Laurentian, which is based out of Sudbury, just claimed bankruptcy. This is going to happen because their buildings are empty, their dorm rooms are empty, and they're not making any money because tuition isn't enough. It's not enough. They need students there buying lunches, staying on campus because they have all these fixed assets. And you're going to see a lot more of that.
Should I go look for a piece of paper with it already written on it?
Okay,
I know it's not a lot to say, but yeah, we're good. We're good whenever you're ready to go.
Hey,
Hey, I'm Diana Francis, and you're listening to Anything Goes on SIRIUS FM.
XM.
Oh, see, you should have written it down.
wrote it down.
Well, see, yeah, no, we got it.
Well, I think what the hardest part is there's just so much that this pandemic changed the world so fast. Like, it's like you don't have, and there's so many milestones and special events that the people are missing out on it at every age. Like, I'm being so selfish when I talk about, but like, my wedding is just like, it sucks. Like, it sucks. Like, I can't plan anything. I went and I picked up my wedding dress today, and it wasn't that exciting because I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to wear this thing that I just spent a whole bunch of money on. And like, you feel, I waited 40 years to get married, and now I'm finally getting married. Of course, it happens in the middle of a pandemic, and I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do. And you sound like such a spoiled brat when you talk about it that way, but it's like, no,
but you're only going to get married once. You know, you're thinking, I'm only ever going to get married once.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal, and it is a big deal, and there's nothing wrong with that because you have thought for 40 years, and now that is, you know, in all sense purposes, it's not going to happen the way you thought it was. It might still be great.
Yeah.
Things might get back to normal a little bit. It will not be the same.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not going to be the same as it could have been 5 years ago.
Right.
Or, yeah, no.
The year of all the parties and the gatherings with your friends and picking out things and going with your girlfriends and doing things, probably not going to happen the same way.
I mean, I'll save some money, but...
Right.
I mean, I think it's all right to complain about it, too. I mean, because it is a traumatic thing, and, you know, it's something you've been looking forward to. I mean, don't go outside of, like, a hospital or an old folks' home and start screaming about it while they're all dropping like flies inside. But yeah, it is weird how many... I mean...
And everybody's going through stuff like this. That's why it's like, you don't feel quite so... Because there are so many, like, even I went to go pick up my dress today, she was talking about all the brides. She's like, she had brides this summer that their dream was to have like a huge wedding, like 300 people wedding, and they had to pare it down to 15 people. But in the end, they were like, it was really nice, and we saved a ton of money and all this other stuff. So there's like silver linings to all of this. But I think the fact that it just was so fast that the world changed, and it's not going back to what it was like. It'll never be back to what it was like. Maybe in 10 or 20 years, but for us old people, it's never going back to what we knew.
That is the concern. That, you know, like, I remember in the, you know, the early 90s how great Saturday first show packed room was. Yeah. It was electric. It was amazing, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen again. And I'm 50. I'm okay because, you know, even before the pandemic, I was slowing down. But it is sad that I don't know if that's ever going to come back where I can at least see it.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least you have those memories too.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, it's sort of like, I don't know. I mean, you should show your son all these movies. Like, not like you want to rub it in that he's not going to be able to go on campus, but I just think of all these movies like Private School for Girls and like all these wacky teenage movies of like, you'll be like, what, Dad, what's going on? Who are these people? You know, it's like, even concerts though, it's sort of like, and also it's sort of like, I mean, it's nice in some ways, but just the idea of going to a packed movie theater on the day that like something comes out, like, I mean, Coming to America 2 is coming out.
Right.
And I would honestly go and see, like, you forget what a funny movie Coming to America was.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to watch it again, but I'm watching the trailer, and it looks like if you were alive and in the movie Coming to America, you were getting a cameo in the new one. Because it's just like everybody's come back.
Right.
But I mean, it's like, I don't know, just going to see that movie on opening day in a packed theater would be just, there's nothing like that. And
I mean, like, if you were a Star Wars fan, I mean, I'm not, but if you were, and a new movie comes out, you know that if you went on opening day, you're going to be in a room full of 300 people that kind of feel the same way you do, and there's just not, I mean, that's why I think movie theater is always going to be around. You know, there's talk about they're all going to die off. I think that quality of it can never be replaced, no matter how big of a TV you have in your basement. But, you know, it's going to take some time.
Well, teenagers are going to need to be able to go somewhere, too. It's like, you know, you have to go on dates somewhere.
People do have PTSD from this whole thing, because I'll watch a movie or I'll watch a live concert and be like, I can't believe we used to get to be like that. And that was like a year ago. Like, you know, like I don't know when, you know, music festivals are done. Like Coachella's canceled. Like they're all, not that I liked them, but like I never went to them, but you know, like you look at video of that now, you're like, oh my God, look at that. We were all like that close together, and like it's just weird.
But the whole idea is 25-year-old Kathleen would have went to it. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel bad for. It's like I'm 50, fine, but a 25-year-old person, like a comic who's 25, you know, they've been doing it for 5 years, they still love it, and then this happens. It's like,
those are the comics I feel really bad for. The ones that were like literally hitting their stride and just getting it and like getting things and you know, and just about breaking it. And then now this is, and you know, it might come back, but it's like not going to come back right away. People have had to, there's comics I'm sure haven't done comedy in a year, like real stand up on a stage, you know? So it's a very depressing world.
Yeah, I mean, I've just done I did a weekend in Toronto and then a weekend in Kingston, and that's kind of been it, you know? Yeah. There's like, you know what's funny? It's like, there's like, I have jokes written that are already outdated and I haven't even done them once. You know, it's like I looked at jokes that I wrote back in like March going like, fuck, man, I can't do this. This is, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But
I've done 5 total shows since the end of February 2020.
Yeah. Well,
five headline sets. That's it.
I was lucky. Like I worked all summer long, and I did a ton of stuff. And it's kind of ironic. I've said this before that like Toronto was the epicenter of comedy, and they were the ones that didn't even get any stage time. So all like West was out open, and the East Coast was open, but like all these Toronto comics could do comedy. It was a weird summer. But now like I haven't done comedy since November. I got booked Valentine's weekend, and then that got canceled. So, you know, like people are trying to book stuff, but every time they book it, the government's like, oh, no, we're not open. You can't do that. So
I'd like it if they could just cancel Valentine's Day too. But, you know, there's going to be some creative asshole that does this big elaborate things with like, you know, skyrockets and fucking rose petals. And then he's
or they're gonna make a menstruation cake and piss off every man on the internet. I got so many comments like,
that was great.
My fucking husband would never do that. You even said that.
Yeah, I said that. I would never do that.
Did you do it? Was there a Jello filling that when you cut into it, did the cake, you know, just start did the cake bleed out?
No, it was
Jello or cherry filling or something like that.
That's disgusting.
But I don't know. It was funny you said that like 25-year-old Kathleen McGee would like to go to those concerts, but 45-year-old Dave Martin would still like to go to those concerts.
Well, you're about my maturity, my 25-year-old maturity level right now.
That's the thing. 45-year-old Dave Martin's looking for 25-year-old Kathleen McGee's.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, but what are you doing for your birthday? Darren had one, and he just did. You didn't get sushi. Oh, did you? I'll play it in this episode, but I got I got Paul Irving, that cameo from William Hung. Did you see it?
Oh yeah, you said that, yeah.
Hello, Paul Irving. This is William Hung, and I want to wish you a happy 32nd birthday. I want to wish you and your lovely wife Beth both the best, and hope that you can enjoy some sushi together. Paul, you still got it, man. Here's a song for you. Welcome to the Hotel California. What a lovely place. What a lovely face. Plenty of room at the Hotel California. Any time of year, you can find it here.
Yeah. Which is
what did you do for your birthday, Darren?
Yeah.
I literally, I didn't do very much, just hung around. My wife took 2 days off from work. She works in a hospital, so that wasn't easy for her to do. So that was great. And I just had a really nice, quiet family birthday, which is all I want. I didn't want a big party. And my wife got, obviously, and you both did videos, which is great. So it was like 40 minutes, like I think 35 or 40 comics sent me videos, which was really nice, very overwhelming. And it was great. I was glad with it. When I was 40, we had the party. That was fun. 50, this was perfect for me.
Yeah,
sorry.
like I still this is spoiled brat Kathleen again. Like my 40th is in April, and I wanted to be in Mexico on a beach, and that is not happening because they've closed the borders until April 30th. So it's not even possible to happen.
Right.
And I'm just like, last year's birthday sucked. This year's birthday is gonna suck. So I'm just gonna like hopefully have a great 41st. But yeah, it's just like another milestone that's gonna suck because of this stupid pandemic. And I get just enraged by people who are prolonging this by not wearing masks. I get like the conspiracy theorists. I'm so enraged by them right now. That's another reason why I have to stay off the internet, because I get way too angry looking at people. It's just like, shut the fuck up. I want this to be over. Nobody wants this to continue. But you having protests about wearing a mask, it's so stupid. It's so stupid and infuriating.
Well, also, it's not going to change anything either. It's just a lot of hot air that's like not. You're only moving the marker back from when we can open things again. And I mean, if you're anti-mask, that's fine. You don't have to wear one when you're around the house, but it's sort of like, just wear one in public. It's like I said, everybody fell in line when it came to no shirts and no shoes, no service.
Yeah.
But it's like, but just wear the fucking thing. And
you know what? A lot of people that are complaining, it's different if you have a job like that you have, Kathleen, where you're working with the public and you've got to wear it all day. I get it. I get that it sucks. But a lot of these people, I'm not wearing it. They're working from home, some of them, and they only have to wear it when they got to go to Costco for 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or into a store quickly for 5 minutes. It's not really your freedom's taken away that much.
Yeah, I've been on Facebook periodically, and I didn't even realize that I got banned for 24 hours because I posted this thing about the travel ban and stuff. And then I said, if I see another person without a mask, I'm going to rip your face off. And they like 24-hour banned me because they said, rip your face off. And then I contested it, and they said, okay, we put the post back up. It wasn't, but it was so funny.
So what was it? Was that just too much fighting words?
Well, rip your face off. I guess that was because the complaint was about bodily harm and blah, blah, blah. But I said, rip your face off, and I put a smiley emoji. Like, fuck off. Like, I'm not going to rip someone's face off. I will scream at someone in public, though.
Well, it's like you can't even say cunt now on Facebook. There's an algorithm that you will get a 24-hour kind of warning for saying cunt.
Yeah, Facebook is...
What am I going to call both of you?
I know.
Yeah, Facebook has just gone too much. Like, I know everyone's saying, oh, Twitter's censoring people, but you want to talk about censoring, Facebook censors people because all people do on Facebook is fight. And so when you get a negative comment from someone, then people go and they report them, and it's just this constant reporting, and like, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Well, speaking of cunt, so I let my family, we all sat and watched the video for my 50th birthday that everyone submitted. And, you know, people used a little bit of language here and there, and that's fine. My kids are fine.
I did.
But you did. And Bobby Knuff had a puppet, and at one point the puppet said cunt. And my 11-year-old yells out, "What's that?" And I'm like, well, you know, he hasn't heard that word, but you know what? He heard it the right way. He got taught by a puppet, so that's fine.
Oh, you didn't tell your kid that's your hometown?
What's that?
Oh, you didn't tell your kid that's where you came from? Or
Yeah, no, I didn't say that, Dave. What did you say, Kathleen?
That's how kids should learn about that word, from a puppet.
Yes, from a puppet, right? That's you know, that's what I think.
And there's so many definitions to that word. There's so many definitions.
But the funniest thing is when I talked to James Cunningham, who gathered all the clips, he said to me, "Oh, come on, man. That's not the first time your 11-year-old heard you say cunt." I'm like, "No, it is, James. I know what you think. I just walk down the hall of my house going cunt, 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 cunt." You know, they don't hear those words. I don't say.
Have you watched that History of Swearing on Netflix? I don't know if they do cunt. I haven't watched all of them.
They don't do cunt.
That's how that is the one that needs to be done. Like they do fuck, they do all of it. That's one of the most powerful swear words still, kind of.
Well, and the whole idea that, you know, it's kind of hacked, but there is that idea that in other parts of the world it doesn't have the same power. Like in Britain, you can't. It's more of an endearing term for some people.
But it's funny because I've had women say to me right after I've been screaming at them. No, I've had women say to me before, there isn't like a male equivalent to the word. Like if you're going to call a woman a cunt, there isn't like a dirty enough word for a woman to say back to a guy that is going to piss a guy off. But I mean, most guys, anyway, most people I know, but you know, I don't microaggressions. I don't know any of that bullshit. But it's just like I can brush off of most insults. You have to dig a lot deeper than, you know, you have to
one word. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's sort of like, it's like calling a comic a cunt or an unfunny cunt. You know, you'd be like, whoa, who are you calling unfunny?
Well, yeah, of course.
It's like, don't say that about me.
I think the only term that like women get in trouble with men is when we say men are trash on the internet. If you say men are trash on Facebook, you get in trouble. Well, I know lots of girls that have said men are trash, and then they get.
But I know a lot of guys that are trash. I don't.
We all know a lot of guys. Dave's one of them. He's the trash man.
Me and Ike Turner. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's so you have no plans for your birthday?
Not.
Shit.
Do you have a rotary phone?
Yes. It's only old men are the only ones that have this ringtone.
Yeah.
That's so.
Hey, this is comedian Arthur Simeon. You're listening to Anything Goes on XM Radio, Laugh Attack. All right, thanks.
Dave, Alexander Graham Bell's calling.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I heard he invented something.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is such an old person ringtone that I just want to ring. I just want it to ring.
We should wrap it up anyways because it's been an hour and 10.
Okay. Hold on. Here, can I play back in 1 second?
Oh my God, he's literally
Giant cocks, Dave. Giant cocks.